He was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Pat Metheny there, but
That's too bad. That was one of those places where those up and coming bands you could actually go see and get really, really close to them. And
yeah,
I mean, even it was a Pittsburgh place where they every year would have the Rock Challenge, and
yeah.
you know they would really put some money behind the winner every year.
I saw Rusted Root there in like
Sure.
'93, and they were just starting to break, you know. And I mean, yeah, Dawn of the Buffalo and Rusted Root, that was a great show. And John Hammond Jr. there, you know, that was a great. Just like you could go back and all these different bands that came through there, it was a great place to see. Small place and nice, you know. Now I think it's a parking garage, you know, for expensive cars. So.
Yeah, the place that wasn't their place downstairs that had expensive cars for sale, and they were leasing the joint upstairs, and
I think
the lease ran out and they were going.
I think something like that. It's a shame, you know. Live music venues, good live music venues.
Well, even like Fatheads or whatever it was down on the Strip used to be a great place for music, and now they don't really do much anymore.
Fathead? Rosebud.
No, the place that was right next to Fatheads that was connected with, I can't even think of what it was called now, but it was a really big room.
So where Tony used to play on Sunday, Tony Jr. used to play on Sunday.
I bet. I mean, they went out of business probably.
They changed the name.
They went out of business in like 2000, and now it's like, it's not called Octane, but it's something like that down there now.
Oh, was it like a...
Nick's Fat City, that's what it was called.
On the south side, okay.
Yeah.
No, Nick's
South,
Fat
that's
City,
right.
It's now Diesel, yeah.
I mean, do they really have bands there much
Yeah,
anymore?
it's more of like a dance club,
Yeah.
but the Rex has, they have some new owners there that just took over it, but they seem to cater more to like jam band type of things going on, you know. There's just
bands they don't have to pay.
Right.
So what do you suppose has caused this? I mean, if we were to explore the idea, I mean, what is it? It baffles me, you know.
About the
Yeah,
jazz.
well, I don't know. It's the same thing happened in Denver. It's happening everywhere. It's just like the live scene just is.
Yeah, I think it's generational. I think everything kind of comes and goes in cycles, and I think what kind of what's the whole rave thing, man? What was that? I think techno kind of killed.
Techno music. Yeah.
You know, in my generation, it was disco. You know, disco kind of killed things for a while, and then then I guess Nirvana kind of started that whole new rock thing again, and so jazz and blues is not going anywhere. I think it's just a matter of there's a lot more places to hear blues. Pittsburgh is always been kind of a shot in the beard kind of place. Working class type of place, but it might be just generational. It really isn't. It's about education, and turning people on. You guys do that as far as outreach and education and
Yeah,
so
if we want
forth.
to do our part, we just, Dan can talk about it, but we're all members of the local jazz society, and we did a clinic over the summer.
It wraps up this coming week.
Last one's this Tuesday. Why don't you talk about, it was your idea, Greg, why don't you talk about the workshop and what we kind of did?
Sure. The initial idea was to take jazz history as a background in trying to instruct young improvisers how to improvise correctly, stylistically correctly. So if they're improvising in a Dixieland format or in a swing, like a real swing kind of thing, or bebop, they would actually play stylistically appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was the skill levels were so incredibly diverse that the history sort of took over, and the actual improvising kind of took a back seat, but we really did a lot in the theory realm, the chord scale analysis kind of stuff, so they could have a little better understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So we basically gave them a toolkit to take home and build a house with,
Yeah.
We gave them all the information, but now it's sort of up to them to go home and apply it. We exposed them to a lot of artists and records, and again, how to improvise stylistically correct. I mean, we went from early jazz Dixieland to swing to bebop. We did a whole section on just Miles Davis, on John Coltrane. We did modern jazz, like progressive kind of stuff. And am I missing something?
That's pretty much all we did.
Yeah.
Kyle Simpson's gonna be the guest lecturer.
Right. We also had, like he said, guest lecturers for each one come in.
This
People
week.
who have performed in the genre for a long time, like James Cope did, the swing. Josh Dunleavy, who is a John Coltrane fanatic, gave a talk on that. We had a student from WVU who did a thesis, and Miles Davis come in and do a talk on that. So we hope it was a good experience and it can be an impetus to something else.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You're getting
Yeah.
well, that's the whole thing about this show here, was actually trying to get the community involved in the college. It's a community show,
Right.
and we're trying to actually do something with live music
Yeah,
here
we
in
had
Washington.
people from 16 to 70.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really great. I was pleasantly surprised at the turnout we got, and hopefully we'll be able to do it again. You know, I think we'll probably take a.
And it was all subsidized through a grant.
That's right. We got a grant through the I hope I say this right, the Pennsylvania
Bear State.
Humanities.
Council for the Arts.
Council for the Arts and
PCA.
Humanities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that was great. And now we have to do it again, maybe in the springtime again. We're going to probably take off for the fall, since a lot of the students will be tied up with marching band and all that kind of stuff. But maybe do one in the spring and do one in the summer. Maybe different topics, or maybe even the same thing. You know?
I'd like to see just an improv clinic, just talking about, introduction to improvisation, really getting them hearing and playing, getting the sounds out of their heads into their horns and actually playing and teaching them the scales that are associated with that. And instead of kind of like, a lot of the students at this point sort of noodle, as opposed to play, really correct
notes.
jazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as Dan had pointed out to a lot of students, I mean, there's a difference between playing the changes in jazz, like trying to just make sure you get the right chord changes, as opposed to playing a melody, and that would of course be the real end results, is taking the chords and creating a melody out of that.
Cool.
Finding your
Let's
voice.
talk about that a little bit further in the next section, but I gotta let you know, if you're listening to us right now, you joined us here at Acoustic Songs Live on WNJR. We have the Dan Baker Trio here in the studio, and we're talking about jazz and a bunch of things. But let's let some music do some talking here, because I'd like to hear some more. What are you gonna play for us, man? What's the next thing?
We're going to play our version of a Staple Singers tune. And since we're talking about,
The blues,
the
baby.
scarceness of places to play and all that kind of stuff, it is entitled, Why Do They Treat Me So Bad?